This is Christopher Lee. I would like to congratulate the One Ring Net. I would like to thank them for putting on the website this competition, which has as its main purpose the promotion of my recent album, Revelation, which has just come out, and in which I sing in English, French, Italian and Spanish, flamenco and heavy metal, and others.
En présidence, à que se passe-t-il? Plus de cris à l'instant, plus de cris à l'instant.
Obviously, a privilege for me that they should do this. Now, they have also brought out a competition. Competition consists of 5 questions, and they're not easy ones, far from easy. Fortunately, I do happen to know the answers anyway, but I would be very surprised if the people who made the Lord of the Rings could answer these questions, all of them, correctly. We have 2 winners, and first of all I will read out the questions and then I will give you the names of the 2 winners.
Mi amor, quiero, te quiero, Carmencita, siempre mi corazón.
These are the contest questions. Christopher Lee met Professor Tolkien at a pub in Oxford. What was the pub commonly known as by the locals? Well, the original name, which I presume still exists, was, and probably still is, the Eagle and Child. But of course it's known by a great number of people as the Bird and the Baby. It was known as that during the time of Professor Tolkien. What was the reason for Tolkien being there? He used to go there quite frequently to meet his friends. As far as I know, all of them authors. One of them, of course, C.S. Lewis, very famous. And it was a society they had formed called the Inklings. So that was the reason for Professor Tolkien being there, and that was when I met him, because I was with some friends, one of whom knew him. Marvellous experience for me, wonderful honour for me. I was very nervous, but he did come over and say how do you do to all of us, 4 or 5 of us. And I felt that I really ought to kneel maybe when I shook his hand. Who was the only hobbit ever to ride a horse? Not an easy question. The answer is Bandobras Took, who was known as Bull Roarer Took. Obviously, he was considerably taller than the other hobbits. We don't know how much, we're not told, but that is the answer, and that is in the Lord of the Rings. Well, all of these questions and answers are in the Lord of the Rings. how did the fellowship get into the mines of Moria? Very interesting and very difficult question again. In fact, when the fellowship arrived outside the entrance to the mines, there was this big inscription in the form of a door, the shape of a door, and it was in Elvish, and there were various inscriptions around it in the Elvish language. And there was quite, I can't remember, a number of phrases, a number of words used. And the fellowship, don't forget, had disturbed in the lake by this entrance, most unpleasant monster of sorts, which caught up with them in the end, and the only one who got away was the pony, Sam Ganji's pony. Well, they got away too, but it was a very unpleasant moment. And Gandalf, who knew every language in Middle-earth, simply couldn't understand. He called out every incantation, every spell, every piece of magic that he knew, and no one in the world in Middle-earth knew as many as he did, and he still couldn't get the answer. Until someone, and I forget who it was, or it might have been him, who thought of it, this I don't remember, said, it does say, among other things, speak, friend, and enter. Of course, that was the clue. Speak the word friend, and you'll be able to come in. So Gandalf suddenly realized that this was the correct way of doing it. So he called out the word friend, which is melon, M-E-L-L-O-N, and the door opened. And the fellowship went in, just in time, because this monster in the lake began to come out. And what did happen was that once they got inside, a monster, I think it had these long tentacles, got hold of the door and smashed it and closed it in such a way that it was impossible to get out if they'd wanted to. So they were trapped in the mines of Moria. Now the last question.
Have a sauce or a force or a snort of any sort. Asti spumante, uno chianti, arti fine. I got a big army cocks, a gin and tonic on the rocks, where angels fear to tread. I say, choose your booze, let's hit the red eye. Think of young.
And that's really a tough question, because I've sung in one, I'm about to sing in the film. I shan't be talking, I'm going to be singing. But I have sung in, of course, The Wicker Man. I've sung in Turner Captain Invincible, and bits and pieces, just for fun, a few words, a few phrases, in other films. But the first film that I'd sung in, and I'd forgotten this, I have to say, is a film that I made in Barcelona many, many, many years ago. It was directed by a man called Pedro Portabella, and the title of the film was El Umbracle, which is Catalan for the shady place. The first one I have here in front of me is Paula or Paula Di Sante, and she lives in the United States. The second winner, also I think a lady, Melody Potter, and she also lives in the United States. So, they are the winners of this particular competition.
The blues and did it my way.
And I again congratulate the two winners.